perspective and to accommodate questions. So as I'm talking, I'd love you guys to just put up your hand and ask a question, because I might shoot past something that might be very relevant. So please feel free to fire away, and there's no stupid questions. All right. Do I know anything about moths? They're exactly the same, but they're totally different. 1,000 species of moths. So it's a totally different ball game, and it's a game that I haven't dabbled in at all. So I'm not going to entertain any answers on moths. And the families of butterflies. So within Lepidoptera, which means scaly wings, moths and butterflies have these fine scales on their wings, and if you capture one and you get it on your fingers, you'll rub these scales off, and you'll see all the color come off in those. Now those small scales, Lepidoptera means scaly wings in Latin, they provide lift for a butterfly. So if you were to rub all of those up into any of the patches of indigenous forests up in the Berg, so they'll breed on those as well. So anywhere you find those plants, you will pick up your citrus, your there's a lot of blue butterflies that are almost identical, from little Gaika blues in the grass breeding on because of the plants that they're breeding on. It's all got to do with what you call the larval host plant. Ones that breed on grass species. And it makes sense with the habitat that they occur, it's predominantly grassland. They don't lay their eggs like the standard butterflies do. Most butterflies will land on the plant, test the plant on the stem, and lay an egg. Those browns, they will fly along and they'll drop their eggs in flight into the grass. And then those little eggs will wedge down in the grass, they'll take a few days, they'll hatch, and the little larva will start feeding on the grass and eat its way through its life cycle and pupate down low and hatch out in the applicable season for that particular species. Some of those browns will only occur on a certain altitude. So some of them, there's a couple of rare ones that we have to go over 2,500 meters before we start finding the butterfly, because the plant, the grass, only occurs at that altitude according to the climatic conditions that plant needs and that grass needs. So it makes it a in there, they're caterpillars, and he's feeding on the inside. Pupates in there and hatches and flies out. So it's a very unique butterfly to the Midlands and further up in the Highveld, Leidenburg area as well, Goldberg. So that's a protea. It's a very fast flying butterfly. So if you see an orange butterfly and you're amongst proteas during will be their flight period. There was another one. Oh, now we've got two other little bugs here. So I'm very difficult for you all see these things, but the name you'll recognize them in the video. Orange, red color on them. We've got two species here in the Midlands. That's the third on that. So points on the tip of the wings and on the base of the hind wings. On the wet season, on the summer form, those are very short and abrupt, like they've almost been cut off. It's on your hibernation thing. So why I say this is familiar, because you'll be walking the trails, especially through forests, and you'll walk along and there'll be a little undercut. You'll walk past this little undercut and like 15, 20, 30, 40 butterflies will just come out from under there. They fly physically when their body temperature gets to like, I can't remember now, it's like, they start heating up, the butterflies start getting more active, then they get on the wing, fly around, and they start roosting again. Kind of proportionate to the butterfly itself, but on your swallowtails, for example, your caterpillar, your big emperors and your citruses, they'll go up to about yay big. And then on your little guys, you're going to get really, like less than a centimeter long. Really difficult guys, but there's a lot of variety. Typically, again, it's a generalization, it's not a rule. If it's hairy, it's a moth. Become custodians of certain species that are possibly more rare, of the ants and the caterpillars and everybody looking after each other in one big Lion King happy family. We'll have them. And keep an eye out in the second-hand shops. I mean, what's his name, John, that goes to the farmer's market. He's sometimes.
Secondly, what benefits do butterflies bring to nature outside? And thirdly, what is the worst enemy of these butterflies?
Okay. So it's a yes and a no answer on the first one. And I'll be totally honest, because sometimes you'll find that butterfly larvae are generally not your problem. They're not, yeah. You've got more moth species that become prolific in defoliating stuff in your garden, from a garden perspective, for the type of plants that are in your garden, whether they're indigenous or exotic plants, or vegetables, or whatever the case may be. You'll find that moth larvae are the ones that, if you go back to your cabbage tree, for example, and predation. So birds obviously is a big one. A lot of your little butterflies have these little tails on the back. They're false heads, false antennae that move around. And when they got their wings closed, obviously it gets the exhaust pipe from the bonnet, from the bird perspective, and the bird will often take a chunk out of his tail than his head. So they've got these fine little hairs with like a tip on them that move around. That's because birds are such a big predator of butterflies. Then we've got your next one is parasitism. It's a major. It's not a predator, but it's going to affect the population. So predation. Yeah. So those whites that do the dispersal, it's not set in what they're doing. Obviously, I think the bigger picture is involved here, the climatic picture. Mocha swallowtails, all of that. And then
Before you say that, they might be too hot.
No. But she'll and clutch is the wrong word for these guys, but a female that'll drop eggs, because they lay eggs individually, these ones. Okay. Boom. But from one female dropping a whole bunch of eggs on plants, if you took that, all her eggs and you raised those, within her clutch of eggs, she'll produce males, females, but but it's almost identical.
You bring your own songs. Yeah.
Say it louder.
You said it's different to birds, but that's the same.
No, birds are the same. Sorry, no, birds are the same. Yeah.
It's different in humans.
In humans, I meant humans. Yeah. I just didn't want to get myself into 50 Shades of the deep end. Yeah.
slow walk, you know, you walk from place to place.
And you were waiting.